Guys, let's see here. Let's go ahead and turn on my mic since there's music on. We'll wait about a minute and a half for people to get on, maybe 2 minutes. The noise you hear in the background is Sophia, and we just got our brand new air fryer. So we've never had one before, and so she's making. She made French fries, some what do you call those things? The big fries. She made steak fries. That's what it's called. So she has those, and we have popcorn shrimp and fried beer battered cod. Yeah. So that's what we're trying for our first tryout for this thing. I've never had food cooked in an air fryer, and I'm not kidding. I've never had it before, so it's gonna be interesting. I need this stretched out just a little bit. So, it's funny to me because I wasn't actually gonna get on here. Megan said, the one I was talking to earlier, Megan said she's on her way. Jimmy's over here. She said she's on her way. She's in the hospital. She ain't on her way. I'll mail you some. Anyway, that's great. I like that. So we'll get going here in a minute. Let people get on first. But what inspired today's YouTube live is what happened this morning when we were at McDonald's. Hey, what's up, girl? Hey, ladies. All right, so Denise and Lori's on. Anna should be on shortly. But I'll talk about what happened this morning at McDonald's. That was crazy, man. So I hope everybody's having a great Saturday, by the way. Let's see here. Well, I might as well get started. Anna can Anna's with her sisters, so she might not be on for a second. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Hi, my name is Daryl Phillips, owner of Noir Apologetic Gaming, and what we do here is listen to you talk. So I'm going to tell you guys a crazy story from this morning. So Sophia and I, we like to do so on Saturdays, we like to go and go somewhere in the morning times. It just helps get our day started. All right, because she's used to getting up at a certain time and going to work, but that's the day we sleep in and stuff like that. Well, anyway, so she goes and gets breakfast. She goes and gets hash browns and stuff. And as we're eating, all of a sudden I hear boom, and we both are like, "What the?" I have two videos that I may or may not post on Facebook just to show you guys what happened right after it happened. And keep in mind that Sophia is a nurse for a living, and so she went over there to help. But so did dude, how many people you think came over there? About 15 people, 10 people. There's a lot. Everybody that heard it. Yeah, about 10 people came over there. Okay, Anna. So we're eating our hash browns, and all of a sudden we hear this noise. Some woman had hit with her car. I don't know if she had an episode or something. We're not sure what happened, but from what I saw, she straight up hit this light pole, and it went over, it tipped over. But the angle of which she hit it straight on. It was straight on a hit, like she must have wandered over in the other lane, and so forth and so on. And anyway, Sophia was over there, and I actually got the second video has a good shot of Sophia talking to the woman, and then there was somebody else, I guess probably another nurse that was over there and talking to this person. Okay, right? Well, when things like this happen, hold on, I'm trying to stretch this damn screen out. Oh, there we go. Okay. When things like this happen, right? It's crazy to me because, okay, I don't need this part stretched out. I just need this part stretched out. Oh, she brought me some coffee. Because I'm dragging today. I've been dragging all day. Okay, hold on. Sorry for the distractions. Like I said, she's cooking that meal behind me, and she's gonna bring some fish over for me. I'm about to eat on here because I can't really. These lives on here get long anyways, and I don't want. Dude, why? Sorry. Jesus Christ, man. Sorry. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to stretch this chat box out so that it's organized, but I'm having a hard time. Okay. Thank you. See? Isn't she's nice, y'all? She brought me fish and chips. Okay. So let me tell you what inspired me today though. Like, so I'm watching Sophia go over there, be over there and talk to this person, this poor lady. Like I said, I don't know we'll never know what happened and why that she crashed in to. Oh my God, I am really not on it today. My Lord in heaven. Anyway, we won't probably ever find out what happened, but basically it looked like she might have fallen asleep at the wheel. It might have been like where she was taking meds or something. I don't know. But she hit it, and that car is total. Her whole front end is messed up. Okay. Well, anyway, I was thinking. So I was sitting in the car, and Sophia was doing her thing over there, and there was like 10 other people that were involved with this. That it was pretty cool to watch so many people volunteer to help. And that they were trying to be helpful. A couple of them were on the phone with 911. There were a couple of them were just making sure everything was okay. Blah blah blah. Very few. There was a bunch of people that tried to help here. What got me to thinking about what me and Duan do. This here. It was what was so amazing is to watch Sophia go from eating hash browns. Okay, she goes from eating hash browns and a sausage McMuffin to nurse mode. I mean, it was instant too. She went from being a civilian to being a nurse, and it was instant. Like, it wasn't like, okay, I'm a nurse. No, she went from being eating breakfast to professional. I mean, for 18 years, I have had one of the greatest examples of a professional human being in front of me that you could ever imagine. And I have learned so much from Sophia. But today it got me to thinking about this. There's a New Age philosophy that goes on, that there's many causes for this New Age philosophy. And a lot of it has to do with the younger generation, a lot. It's not a disrespect to the younger generations, but they're taught, oh, well, mind your business, right? I know you guys know that mind your business. It ain't your business. Don't get in people's personal business. Okay, Anna, thank you. There's a couple causes for this, right? And in fact, it's actually this philosophy has permeated even into the medical field. Have you guys ever wondered, like anybody who's my age and above, have you guys wondered why cars don't stop to help people anymore? You ever wonder that? Or why you don't hear stories? Now if it's a real emergency, of course a doctor will be like, I'm a doctor, blah blah blah. But do you understand that in that moment when they go work on another human being, even if they're not in the office and they could be on vacation, that person has the right to sue them? Ain't that right, Sophia?
Yeah.
Did you hear her? So it has scared off the good people with these medical degrees from helping people that when they're not at work, okay? And that's why it's very difficult to get someone to help without calling 911. All right? So like a lot of people don't want to volunteer, even if because if I'm not mistaken, Sophia, you can lose your license, can't you?
No.
Did you hear her? She said, yep. Sorry, she's eating over there, so she doesn't want to eat in front of y'all. But I have no problem eating in front of y'all. Sort of. You have to apologize. I'm literally eating in front of y'all. So, what is that? What's in the thing? Is that mustard? What is that?
Mustard, and I brought you the malt vinegar if you wanted it.
Oh shit! Sorry, I forgot my malt vinegar. All right, hold on. Malt vinegar. Sorry. Yeah, Lori. It's liability. They try. They have scared off the medical field to the point where unless you call 911, you're not going to really get help from people. Which reminds me, which goes back to today, which it was so cool to watch like 10 different people. I mean, one guy literally pulled out of the drive-through, parked his car and got out of the car to immediately help. We all did. Even I did. That was amazing, man. I got to be honest with you, because you don't see that very often now. Okay? Well, it got me to thinking. Sorry, I'm kind of dousing my fish.
The guys from the Firestone that was right there came right out.
Did you guys hear that? She said that the guys from the Firestone business right there, the tire business, came out of their store to help. It was really cool. But it. Say again? Oh. See, I was trying to get my phone and stuff, and I'm very slow now. But she said that the guys from the Firestone cut the airbag. Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot. Lori's sister's an RN too. So, but check this out. But I know for a fact this is not the way the world used to be. I'll tell you guys a horror story real quick about my grandfather. So, my grandfather is responsible for every stinking highway you see in Dallas, Texas. Mm-hmm. He was the head foreman of TXI. It's a concrete company, and he worked there for 50 years. My grandfather, that's my mom's dad, and he worked there without a college education, but he worked there and he rose up throughout the company and things like that. And y'all look at this. But excuse me. 1 second. What? I was hungry. I haven't eaten. So anyway, one day, a friend of his, a coworker of his, they were driving down the highway, and I can't remember which highway. And the man's daughter, his friend's daughter, was at a birthday party. Okay? And back in those days, people didn't care about their medical degrees that bad. So he stopped to help there was this car that was on fire. Okay? And my God, he realized very quickly that he recognized that car. And that his daughter was inside that car. The man, my grandfather's friend, punched the windows out of this car, burning his hands, just unbelievably burning his hands, trying to get his daughter out. Well, anyway, she didn't make it. And my mom says that my grandfather had nightmares so horrible for years afterwards that one time he actually in his sleep pulled the headboard off the bed because he thought it was the door of the car. My mom said that happened. But people don't stop and help each other because of fear. Okay, they're afraid of getting their license taken away, getting sued, right? Being shot. That there's this new thing that people do. Yeah. People will act like their car is broken down, and in reality they're setting you up so they can steal your car. So people, this world, this country, this country has lived in fear because of that. And so the younger generation, now this is generation my age and older that have unfortunately had to unlearn what they learned as younger people. That you stop and you help someone that's in need. But people started getting sued and getting their medical license taken away and that sort of thing. And so now the younger generation has seen this, and now they don't even bother.
Worst thing is that if you're in uniform and you don't help, you get sued and get jail time.
Did y'all hear that? Sophia said, okay, say it one more time. Louder.
If you're in uniform and you don't stop and help, or someone saw you that you were around the area on that when the incident happened, and you just kept on going your way, you can serve jail time, get sued.
I'll repeat what she said. Okay. I think you're a little too far for the mic.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just.
My bad!
Eat your fish. Sophia.
I'm not saying anything.
Anna's sisters are on here?
I didn't say anything!
What'd you say? Why are you laughing then? What's so funny about fish?
I was looking at a funny video.
You're such a sinner. Anyway, what Sophia said was, let's say Sophia, like she has her uniform on, and if she's seen in an accident and she doesn't help, they can sue her and put her in jail just because she was there. That's crazy, man. But it got me to thinking. So in other words, Sophia this morning, if you look in the second video, I sent both videos to Anna, by the way, and to Lori. If you look in the second video, that's Sophia that is in the door that you see. She's trying to talk and keep the person cognitive. Oh my God, my mouth. Keep the person awake, okay, until the ambulance and stuff got there. Okay, Anna, you're making me nervous. But anyway. Heidi ho. Oh. I just work here, okay? Anyway, so that's what you see in the video is her. But I was thinking about it. I was sitting in the car, and I'm waiting for her to come back, and I was thinking about, Sophia doesn't have to stop. In fact, it's kind of a liability. In other words, she put herself at risk today. like that person could have sued her if she had messed up or something. But Sophia's like me. Sophia, do you care about that? Or are you here on this earth to help people?
I do care about that.
Well, no, I'm saying though,
No.
I'm saying though, a person like that's in a car accident, you don't worry about your license in that situation. You worry about the person that's hurt.
Right.
Oh, whoops. And too many times that happens. But like she said, she still has to think about those things. Okay, because it she can get in trouble. Okay, that's one of the reasons why she can't get on here, y'all. That's why you very rarely see her, because the rules of where she works, they don't want her on social media like that. And so I'm not trying to get her fired. She's not trying to get fired, and so she doesn't get on here. But trust me, she's very entertaining. But check this out. It got me to thinking. I was in the car today, and I was thinking about what I do, and what Sophia does, and what Duan does, and what hell Lori does, and what Denise did before she retired. That all of us, in reality, have, see, Lori's like me. I wouldn't care. I'm going to help somebody regardless of the consequences. That's just my Christian upbringing. I can't. My mother did that. And so I got that example too when I was younger. Now my mom has been passed for 22 years. Like I said, the day of her anniversary of her death was a couple days ago. My last Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday. And so I had that example as well. Now, my mother was never a nurse, but she did help people. And I told you, if y'all don't know what she did for a living, she was a certified interpreter of the deaf. And it wasn't just that. The reason why you have to have handicapped parking spots in every single business you have, and the reason why you have to have handrails and things like that for handicapped people, you can think that to my mother. My mother helped pass that bill through. She was one of the ones with the signature way long time ago. Okay? I'm proud of my mom for that. My mom met, what's his name? Oh, the owner of Ford, Lee Iacocca. He's half deaf. And so my mom met him. He was part of this. So my mom always fought for handicapped rights and people of disabilities and things like that. But specifically, her student, the one that she got hired to the school for, one of my friends on Facebook, whose name is Jackie Jorgensen, excuse me. And Jackie was born with a unbelievably rare birth defect. Well, my mom was a great woman. I'm very hungry. Why? Aren't you hungry ever? Oh. Anna asked me if I was hungry. Don't get jealous over my French fries, okay? Anyway. But specifically, the reasoning behind her getting hired for the school. And Jackie was born with a very rare birth defect. I mean, rare. So rare, in fact, she is the only human being alive with that birth defect that is alive. Jackie is, 40... Let's see. I'm 45. Jackie would have been 42 or 43, and Jackie would have been 42. So Jackie's 42 now. I can't even believe I just said that out of my mouth. Oh my God. I remember Jackie was in kindergarten. My God. God, I am old now. Y'all ever have those moments where you like go, Jesus Christ? But let me put it this way. Jackie was born with cleft palate. Her tear ducts were on the wrong side of her eyes. Her ears weren't quite aligned, which is why she was deaf. Let's see, what else? Oh. No, not that. Severe scoliosis. Scoliosis so bad that she had to have 2 1/4-inch iron rods in her back, steel rods in her back. So by the age of 5 years old, Jackie Jorgensen had, by the age of 4 years old, Jackie Jorgensen had 5 major back surgeries, spine surgeries, okay? 1 year, I remember, when she was like 8 or 9, Jackie had to have 3 back surgeries in 1 year. Because because as you grow, they had to make the steel rods longer every year. But the pressure that her spine, because of the S in her back from the scoliosis, that it put on those steel rods, it snapped it in 2. That's a lot of pressure on your back. So like her spine literally snapped 1/4-inch pipes in her back in half. So that was so they had to replace them, and then it was hooked at the top here. Again, the pressure caused the hooks to come unhooked. 3 major back surgeries in 1 stinking year. That's crazy. Jackie could not read. She could not write. She could not speak. She didn't know sign language. My mom had to teach her sign language at 5. In the early 90s, which is when my mom started working for the school, they still had that ignorant, old-fashioned, absolutely prejudiced philosophy of, well, this is what they recommended people. Well, you don't want a deaf. If your child's born deaf, you don't teach them sign language. It makes them not normal. Yeah, that ignorant belief was still around. And the school that I went to didn't want Jackie Jorgensen. They were trying to press Jackie's parents into putting her in a deaf school. But her parents wanted her to go to a public school to be with normal hearing people. So my mom had to help fight her for that. So my mom got static the entirety of her career working there. To the point where when my mom got pregnant with Emily, they illegally fired her while she was on paternity leave. Now my mom was a Christian, my mom is a Christian, even though she's dead, but you understand what I'm saying. And so she just didn't believe in suing people. And so she chose not to go that route. But she could have. In other words, literally, they did something illegal to my mother. Okay? Now, while she was working there, though, she wanted to normalize being around a deaf student. So my mom came up with this idea. See if y'all can understand where I get my example from. Let's see if y'all can figure it out. So my mom came up with an idea. She started teaching sign language classes at the school I went to. And they used to put on these big concerts. It was the whole class and anyone who was in her class. So Jackie's class along with like my sister. I was never remember y'all see me on this camera, y'all think I've always been like this. The reason why I didn't want to be in that class is because I knew I would have to do that concert, and I didn't want to. So I didn't learn sign language like my sister did. Jacqueline, I mean. Okay? And they used to do these songs, different songs on the radio and stuff like that. And it was to normalize hearing people around a deaf student. This was my mother's idea. And so that was pretty cool, right? But at the same time, my mom was working one-on-one with Jackie, teaching her how to speak with her mouth. And you want to hear something really cool? When my mother died, Jackie spoke at her funeral. So no, you don't have to be recognized for the good you do. God will do that for you. But be assured that I had the greatest example as a kid. Someone who had to work her butt off. And all my mom ever wanted was kids, All my mom ever wanted was kids. And that's why she adopted me and Jacqueline. And then God blessed her 17 years after marriage with Emily. See, my mom couldn't have children for a long, long time. Not her own, anyway. And so my mom adopted me and Jacqueline through Christ Haven. It was a foster parenting thing ran by the Church of Christ that adopted the Christians only. And so, in fact, excuse me, sorry. I know this is bad. I ain't supposed to be freaking talking with a spoon in my mouth, but I'm sorry. My grandmother, my biological grandmother, was a member of the Church of Christ too. And you talk about having to make decisions and critical thinking, like what we were talking about yesterday. Imagine having to call CPS on your own daughter. That's righteousness. Imagine having to call CPS and know that you will never see your grandchildren again, because if they stay in the situation, she knew. And so, I'll tell y'all a secret. For years after the adoption, we'd already moved up to Wisconsin. I mean, I think it was up until maybe I was even 7 or 8 years old. 8 years old, maybe. And then finally, the letters stopped, which I'm assuming that means she passed away. But my real grandmother, my biological mother, used to send us money for Christmas with no return address, because it was a bad situation that they had tried to kidnap us once. And so, that's why my mom and dad had to change our names and stuff. And even though, really, I think from what my mom tells me, I think my name was Daryl, just not spelled the way it is. And Jacqueline's name was spelled a different way. I think her name was Jacqueline too. I'm not sure about that. I'm talking my original names. But that was the example I had. And so when I started having problems after 12 years old, okay, my mom and dad never wanted to lie to us about our past. However, as you know, there are some things you just cannot tell children, not little children. In fact, Jacqueline didn't believe we were adopted at all. She was so young. But I knew we were adopted. I just didn't realize how bad it actually was. And so I, like any curious kid would, I decided to ask my mom the golden question. Because it was always so weird to me that me and Jacqueline had a birthmark on our backs right around the same spot. It wasn't too suspicious, so I never really questioned it, but it just was always weird, so I was always curious about it, but I never actually asked. Well, I did when I was 12. I said, why do me and Jacqueline have birthmarks on our back like that? The same spot. And you guys know, yeah, you guys ever see how a person will look when they know they had that you're about to get an answer you didn't think you were going to get? Well, my mom called my dad into the living room and said, Daryl, sit down, we need to talk to you. Because I guess my mom and dad, because I talked to my mom a few years later during my marriage, and I asked her what made her decide to give me that answer. Like, why didn't she just say, why didn't she lie? Of course, my mom doesn't lie. But she told me that my dad and mom had discussed that if we ever had a question about our past, they would tell us the truth. Because that means we were ready to know that. If I was curious, you can't. Lying to your kids is wrong, okay? Especially about something like that. Now, when they're younger, you have to be very careful how you say things. Well, anyway, when they told me that was scars from being burnt with cigarettes, let's just say, if you guys don't understand anything about bipolar disorder, well, I'm going to tell you something. Bipolar disorder is triggered by puberty usually. And that is what you call bad timing. I experienced for the first time what you would call rage. My mom and dad would be at church, right? And some person that didn't, like visitors that would come in, or even other people, and they didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't they didn't do anything wrong. But they would ask me, oh, so do you ever want to find your biological parents? And I would look them straight in the eye and say, yeah, so I can kill them at 12, 13, 14. And that anger and that rage started building up. And then I started giving up on my grades. Started running away from home for no purpose whatsoever. It's not one of my parents. And by the way, I realized years later that the reason why I was running away from home was because I was running away from myself. I just wanted to get the hell away from myself. That I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. And I joke, and I still joke about this, but it really is a joke now. I always tell people that it must be nice for you guys to get to go to work and get away from Daryl, because I don't. I've said that so many times it's not even funny. And before I meant it though. But anyway, so I started getting worse grades until finally in my 11th grade year, I started dating this girl named Lisa. Okay, it was my first love. Lost my virginity, and more than that. And you guys need to understand the mind switch here. Okay, it wasn't just that. I was so against drugs and alcohol and cigarettes, and then I don't even mean just for religious reasons. I mean because I was born addicted to drugs, so I kind of have had a problem with that. Even to this day, I've never been a drug person. I always went to liquor. That's how I solved my issues, and I never went farther than that. Did y'all hear that burp, y'all? Sophia just gave you guys a present. It's a burp. Was it good? Is that good? All right. 1 second. Let me take a sip out of my coffee. So, I end up in the hospital. I get diagnosed with bipolar 96. And then, when I lost my mother to cancer, and it was all so confusing at the time. I was already going through, how do you say it? Let's see. How do you say what I was going through? Well, I was going to say about Jennifer. At the same time as my mom, like, Jennifer had booted me out of the place. What? October? Something like that. August, I can't remember, September, October. Oh, no. What am I saying? I know exactly when she booted me. She booted me the day after 9/11. That's right. So 9/12 means as much to me as 9/11 does. Anyway, I left and I left and went to Harrisburg, stayed there for a little bit. Tried to hide from everyone. That didn't work at all. And then decided I was going to try to, at the very least, get on back on my lithium. So I tried to do that. I did that, whatever. And then I find out, then on Mother's Day, for that week of Mother's Day in 2002, my mom and dad called me. Oh, by the way, I was fighting with my mother every single day. Jennifer had told this lie that has now been verified that I was right, but my mother's dead, so it doesn't matter. In other words, she died thinking her son was something that he wasn't. But my family knows the truth now that Jennifer was evil, that she did something very terrible to me. And I didn't understand. I didn't know what was actually going on. And now everything makes sense. In fact, my cousin Chrissy just told me last year, added some information to this story that I didn't know. And Chrissy was like, yeah, she was telling everybody that I pimped her off and I beat her. Yeah, that's what happened. Anyway, now it makes sense. See, it didn't make sense back then. My mom and I were fighting like cats and dogs every single stinking day. And I couldn't convince her that I didn't do anything wrong. That my mom was acting abnormal. Not, I can't explain it to you. Normally my mom would at least listen to me. But she wasn't trying to hear anything I had to say. To the point where my dad started having to answer the phone calls because my mom couldn't even talk to me anymore. And I was upset and I was hurt by the fact that she wouldn't listen to me. Anyway, that week, so I leave Harrisburg and I go to Minneapolis. And that week of Mother's Day, my mom and dad called me every single day that week. Okay? And you say, well, yeah, they're your parents. No, they never did that. even when they knew I was staying in a homeless shelter. They never called me. Never, ever. But this was this, and I didn't get it at the time. One of the reasons why I say life is fleeting at the end of all my videos, this is why right here. One of the reasons why. I'll tell you about my sister's death in a second. The same thing happened, basically. Not cancer, but same concept. I was still mad and hurt at my mother, and on top of it, that specific week, I was on a bender. For you guys who don't understand what a bender is, for you people who don't understand that kind of alcoholic language, basically, I was getting drunk every day that week. And so I definitely didn't want to talk to my parents like that. So I ignored those calls every single day. Now, one day I picked it up. One day I decided to answer the stinking phone, okay? At the shelter, okay? And my mom and my dad called. Dad says, "Daryl, we want to meet you for Mother's Day." And I'm like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I was ashamed of myself. Jimmy, I was ashamed of myself. I was drunk. And so forth and so on. And I actually verified this for sure last year when I was talking to my cousin. Because I asked her, I said, when did Mom find out she had cancer? Was it around Mother's Day? And Christy said, yeah. My mom and Dad were going to tell me my mother had been diagnosed with cancer. That's why I say life is fleeting. Because I could have made up with my mother right there. But I didn't know. So, month or so would pass by, a month and a half would pass by, and believe it or not, it was Duan who walked up to me and told me, "Daryl, I got some really bad news." And he's the one who told me that my mother had cancer. Of course, I break down and start crying. And then I find out about a month later, or no, let's see. I found out, God, there was so much stuff that happened. I got hit over the head with a brick and almost got killed. I almost got murdered, really. Let's see, when did I find out my mother? Okay, so I found out about June. That my mother, or July or something like that my mother had beat cancer. So I get that information. That my mother had actually beat cancer. Right? So I'm thinking, oh, thank God. And then I meet Desiree. Early part of July. And find out a few weeks later. Actually, in fact, it was 2 weeks after my mother's death. So like let's say Tuesday was the 23rd. So it would have been 2 weeks from Tuesday to when I found out. Okay? And what I found out was, don't be drinking my coffee. What a thief! Hey, thief. Did y'all see that shit? Coffee thief. She came in here and drank my... Look here, dude. Nobody steal my coffee, dude. Wiener. What a wiener. Anyway. God. So I found out 2 weeks after my mom's death from another friend of mine that had talked to Dwan. By the way, Dwan had told this person that if they see me, basically tell them my mom's dead. Well, there was no need. I already knew it. I heard it. I verified what I already knew. I knew the minute my mom died. Nobody believes me when I tell them that. that I know the minute she died, and I know how it happened. And in fact, I know what time of the night it was, because when Christy told me that story 2 years ago, 2 years ago, and verified and actually told me the details about what happened during that time, things that missing pieces. Yeah. I knew when my mom died, because I broke down and I went to my knees. I knew she was gone. So I fled. I left. Went back to Texas. Desiree was stupid enough to follow me. And I'll tell you how bad it was. I couldn't talk to my dad for 7 months. I couldn't even call my dad. Because I knew that if I knew that when he answered the phone, it was him and not my mother. My mother was the only one that ever answered the phone. I just couldn't, psychologically, I couldn't deal with it. And my dad told me when I found, Desiree urged me, that's before me and Desiree became enemies, but Desiree really was a help to me during that time. And she's the one who urged me to call my father. My father told me one of the most beautiful and romantic things I've ever heard. Because I asked him, how did she go? And he said she was beautiful. And that was my example. That was what I had as an example all my life. My mother and father. That's the definition of love. Not whatever you read online. But I would continue on, and I wouldn't change anything about myself, and I was lost. You guys got to understand how many times I called my mother. I'd call my mother, and I would call her for Bible advice, and she knew everything. And I lost that. And so I was wavering in the wind, and I let just be swayed by everything. And then 2005 happened. 2005 was by far the worst effing year of my damn life. And there is not even anything close. Not even my mother's death. 2005 was awful. Okay? And so I got through that, sort of. Or at least the summer of it. And then I had lost my cell phone. Okay? And I don't know if you guys remember. You remember those pay by the minute cell phones, where you pay for the minutes? Well, I had lost my cell phone, and it was one of the first cell phones I had ever had. Well, I ended up buying one of those prepaid cell phones because I wanted to call my father. And again, you know that voice that someone might give you, and you know the voice the instant it happens that you know something's wrong. My dad was like, Daryl, we've been trying to get a hold of you all week. I was in alcohol treatment. I was embarrassed, so I didn't want to call him. And he tells me on the phone, he says, Jacqueline's gone. I said, what? He says, Jacqueline's gone. She passed. I said, what are you talking about? Well, apparently 2 weeks earlier, I was in alcohol treatment, so of course I wasn't paying attention to the news. But Jacqueline's death was all over the TV. Yeah, there was a bad accident in Pine City, Minnesota. It's where she buried her and her. Jacqueline was 8 months pregnant when she died. And apparently they were going to work, and she got T-boned by one of her own co-workers. There was another person who died too in that car accident. Jacqueline flew through the window, died on impact. They thought the baby was actually going to live a little bit longer. And just think, if we get Kamala Harris as our president, that baby, she thinks that baby was going to live after Jacqueline's death, but Kamala says you can kill the baby up into 9 months, but I digress. But the baby died, and Jacqueline has another daughter. In fact, last November, Christy told me where to find Jacqueline's daughter. My God, Jacqueline's daughter looks just like my sister. Good Lord. It's pretty cool. But Jacqueline died like that. And the most messed up part of this story is what happened later. I was in the middle of alcohol treatment, didn't know anything about my sister's death, and it's really sad that my bartender, heck, Sophia, who I hadn't even met yet, knew about Jacqueline's death. Sophia's daughter, Amanda, knew about Jacqueline's death. They remembered, because when I told them, did you remember hearing something on the news about that? They're like, oh my God, that was your sister? Yeah, everybody knew. Not Daryl, of course, because I was a bad brother. I was a bad son. I was a bad human. And so that happened at the same time as that was the same time as I got shattered. Right around the same time. I got shattered not long later, and I was nothing. Got no purpose. Just a walking dead person. I was waiting to die. I would tell Sophia all the time, because Sophia picked me up like a little pound puppy and helped me and saved my life like she always does, just like today. Just like today, her stopping her life, her breakfast this morning, to go help somebody. That's who Sophia is. And she doesn't ask questions. That's just who she is. Ask Dewan. Dewan is at work right now, unfortunately, but me and Dewan joke around about Sophia about you can't get anything. You can't get away with anything with Sophia. Like if you have a wound or something, she's gonna notice it. So if you think you're gonna hide something from her, and quite funny. But 18 years ago, right around this time too, I met Sophia 18 years ago around this time. And I was nothing. Didn't know where to start. Didn't know how to start. All I had was Sophia and her words, because I didn't have any proof of it. Not at that point anyway. But Sophia saw something in me. Something I had ceased to see since in a long time. Life beat that out of me. Situations beat that out of me. Homelessness beat that out of me. Prostitution beat that out of me. All of the ignorant. Oh yeah. If y'all read what Lori says, Sophia helped Lori too. And so I've had an example all of my life, in reality. Well, with the exception from my mom's death to when I met Sophia, that's when I was lost. And that's when I was at my worst. So Sophia saw something in me, and I would roll my eyes when she would say stuff to me because I just did not see what she saw. What I saw in the mirror was a damned monster. A cretin. I would call myself a man, but I wasn't. And so I had nothing in fact, first 2 years that I knew her, I drank every day. I drank a 1.75 liter bottle of vodka every day. I'll say it one more again for any of you who didn't hear that number. I drank a 1.75 liter bottle of vodka every day. I'd gained a lot of weight. No, I was weighing 235 pounds when I first came to Texas. I was freaking fat, out of shape. I was ugly on the inside and I was ugly on the outside. I was empty. But she gave me an ultimatum before she came here, because I came here first. She told me, Daryl, if you don't start trying to do something because you're better than this, then I'm not coming. To be honest with you, my first thought on this was, well, bye. I didn't think I could change. And that's true. And so I had a decision to make. It took me a couple days to make it. But I didn't have long. Because I didn't know how to start. But sure enough, over time, I started to change things. Tiny things. It was tiny things that none of you would ever even give. You guys wouldn't even notice, nor would you bother to give me a compliment for. There were things that I noticed that I started to change. Okay? Well, I had an outstanding warrant out for my arrest in Minnesota. Okay? That Texas, they don't deport people, they don't take people to other states. They don't care about your laws. No offense. So I could basically stay here. I didn't have to turn myself in. I could have stayed in Texas forever and not turn myself in. Texas was never going to do nothing about it. That's why I love my state. But I also began to believe in myself. And so I started being curious about maybe starting a website. Maybe a Bible website. And at first that's what it was. It was I was going to talk about Christian issues and things like that. In fact, the name of the website was called Christian Praetorium. It's no longer in existence. Don't bother looking up. And I did. I started designing this website for the first time. It was in 2011. And, but I started having a guilty conscience because I'm studying. I'm doing this website. I'm studying all these. I'm getting back into the Bible, and so I started to have a guilty conscience, and I was thinking, well, Daryl, you have an outstanding warrant out for your arrest. You need to go take care of that. So, sure enough, took a Greyhound bus, went up to Minneapolis, and I spent 6 months up there. Okay? So, till about Christmas time. Ironically, God, I gotta be honest with y'all, when we were in Irving, because that's where we lived for a little bit, for 4 years straight, we had something awful happen. Because the previous year, Sophia got assaulted by one of the patients. Remember, she works for the VA. I mean, Sophia, again, doing what Sophia does and helping somebody. The patient was mad at the doctor, but this doctor is tiny. She's less than 5 feet tall. This dude would have destroyed her. So Sophia did what Sophia does and got in between this man, this Navy SEAL, and this doctor, and he didn't like it too well. Now I had taught Sophia some martial arts moves that I had learned to help her defend herself, or she would have got her butt kicked even worse. But eventually he took her and choked her out, basically. That was the previous year. She had such bad PTSD from that incident. To this day, you need to announce your presence when you're around Sophia. You cannot come up to her from behind. To this day, you can give her a panic attack. But back then it was really bad. Like, if she didn't know I was in the room and I said, "Hey, Sophia," it could trigger a panic attack. Well, anyway, while I was in jail on her birthday, on her 40th birthday, no less, she got hit by a truck. I can't even make that up. I was 2 weeks out from getting out of jail, from taking care of my business, and I was proud of myself and all this stuff. I'd done the right thing. I'd taken care of this business that was old business from 2005 or 6 or whatever is when it was. I'd taken care of all this. I was so proud. And 2 weeks before I get out, she gets hit by a black truck. Okay. That was incident 2. And the very next year, I almost die. And the very next year, Amanda almost dies, her daughter. That's when she found out she had lupus. 4 straight years, man. I can't even make that up, man. I can't even make that up, right? So that happened, right? But by that point, we decided, right around the time I almost died, we had a long conversation. A very serious conversation. And I had to make a critical decision. Last night we were talking about critical decisions. This is what I mean. Sophie and I agreed that at the time I was not ready to do this. That I was getting too emotionally involved with the people that I was talking to. I had almost died of a stomach ulcer, which means that getting stressed out for me was death. So I chose not to do that. So I canceled the website. Trust me, it was not easy. And I thought I was going to be okay with it. I thought, okay, well, I'll try to just work on my life and try to do the best I can with that. And I was at first. I really was. I was happy. Me and Sophia would go do things, and it was cool. That's my best friend. Her and Dwan are my best friends. Because I can tell them anything. But about, 3 years, maybe I'm going to say right around let's say, 2015, 2016, I began to get really frustrated. Really frustrated. And that frustration would cause me to do some weird ass shit. For example, and see, as I'm going through, my confidence is building. That's what's going on. My confidence is building inside me. And I know that it is, but I'm not doing anything with it. And so it's beginning to get frustrating for me. And I'm not kidding. I used to yell at the podcast, at my phone, and at the radio, and actually debate the radio. Okay? Because they would say something, I didn't agree with it. I knew that they were wrong. I knew that I could debate them and prove that they were wrong. So I would. Loudly. I know my neighbors, I know that my neighbors thought I was crazy. For sure. But it's okay. And this frustration kept building. And I would always go back to the default of, Daryl, you can't do it. It could kill you. So that was always my default to go back to. But eventually that wasn't enough. Death wasn't enough. I didn't care anymore. I was tired of sitting there and having no purpose. Okay? So the frustration would build and build and build. Anyway, on my 40th birthday, 5 years ago, I was told by Desiree that no, I don't want you to see your son because I don't trust you, blah, 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 blah. About how, blah, blah, I don't know. Now, understand this. The entire purpose, the entire reason, because I wasn't even going to have her come here. I was actually going to go to Maryland to see her. Because I needed her to see me. I understood the concept. Of course, I can say anything, that I want to, but what am I doing? I wanted her to see my actions. Okay, that was the entire point. We'd been planning it for 2 years. Because I needed her to not just believe me just because of some whim out there. I want her to believe me because she sees my actions as I'm a better person now. Okay. She didn't want that. Made Gabriel mad as hell at the time. Me and Gabriel couldn't understand. Why? Why would you not want that? Anyway. When she told me that on my 40th birthday, she came very close to breaking me again. That's not really a lie. And so I went on a bender. First bender I had been on in a while. But about 3 days into it, I snapped myself out of this funk I'm in. And I go into the bedroom where Sophia is, and she's watching the show. And I said, by the way, I apologize for the language I'm about to use, okay? But this is what I said. So please, if you don't like foul language, please close your ears now. Okay? Just for this part. So I walk into the bedroom, I said, you know what? Fuck that bitch. And Sophia looks at me and says, okay. I said, no, we're going to go on a vacation anyway. Because Sophia was going to pay for she was going to draw out of her 401k to pay for this trip to go see my son. Instead, that's when we started to plan the Pikes Peak trip. That was the best decision I ever made. That right there. I made some pretty damn good ones, even recently. But that was the best decision I ever made. That was, looking hindsight being 2020, that was the first time that I broke a trend. A bad trend, by the way. Okay, that's cool. So you get the story so far? We get ourselves in some trouble the next year. Now, Pikes Peak happened, and y'all all know the story. If you don't know the story, I'll tell it again some other time. That's a little bit longer story. I have told it before, but it's very important to this business. It's important to me and Dwan especially. In fact, that Pikes Peak is one of the most inspirational moments of my life. Truly. And so that happened. And then the next year, we had a problem. Dwan started staying with us, and he had stayed with us for 18 months. But when he first got here, it was not okay. We all three have been screwed over by a scammer. $30,000-$40,000 gone. So Sophia was even convinced to get a LLC in a business bank at Truist. It was awful. The woman forged signatures and everything, and it was awful. And they closed down my bank account. So from March to all the way to July, to about this time of the year, I had no money. So I was getting my money from SSI. I had no access to it. Remember, I told you I got robbed in 2015, and trying to get an ID anywhere in the United States now is impossible. So I had to wait. And if it wasn't for basically the grace of God, I wasn't. That money would have just kept piling up. Well, anyway, during that period of time is when we started planning the beginnings of this business. And that's when I came up with the ingredients and the steps. I had to figure out why, how, why now? How did I do what I did? Because I wasn't even the same person. I get better. I'm not the same person I was in 2020 either. In other words, I'm not the same person now as I was back then. Even comparing myself to the person in the story. Wow. Me and Dwan worked months at this. I had to really go in and figure out how did I do this? How can I teach a person to kind of do what I did? This is what I came up with. Through planning and just understanding and thinking about all the momentum that I had for the last 18 years. That's when I came up with the ingredients and the steps. And then I discovered something fascinating. I was looking at Steve Jobs' life and some of the most famous people in history, not just people now, but people in the past. And did you know that every one of them carries the ingredients? They just do it naturally. I wasn't doing any of it. They were doing it naturally. Well, no crap. I had a low self-esteem. And that's when I realized, that's true. That's it. That without those things, you're not going to be successful in anything. You have to have want to, ambition, and I mean to do anything. You want to go do laundry? You got to want to do laundry. You want to go get a pack of cigarettes at the store? You got to want to go get a pack of cigarettes at the store. And I mean, every decision you've ever made, you just never thought about it like it. And for the person with so low self-esteem, they never think about it. But I'm talking about even normal people with regular self-esteem. You don't really think about how do you accomplish a task. Okay? Whether it be the simplest thing or the hardest thing. How do you raise children? How did my mom and dad raise me and Jacqueline? And just, I went through all sorts of different parts of my life, and there isn't a single example I have found yet where a person has been successful without those ingredients. They've had to, and venting isn't just about, now when I describe venting for a person like me, it is venting. It's venting like you think of. But venting can be like, if you associate with a company. Me and Dwan have to talk to one another. We have to bounce ideas out for one another. Sophia can give me ideas and give me advice too. I have to vent my thoughts out. Imagine a business being run like this. Imagine a business having no plan. They don't talk to each other, so no one knows what's going on. They sure don't talk to the customer or whoever they're, either the customer or the person they're trying to help or whatever it may be. And so they have no idea what the customer even thinks of them or what they want. They sure don't talk to the boss, because what does the boss know? So they don't tell the boss whenever something is wrong with the company, so that maybe the boss can change it, and vice versa. Imagine no one in the business not listening to advice. And imagine a business being run without taking that said advice and deciding for yourself alone without anybody else chirping in your ears. That's no distractions. Oh yeah, that's right. And imagine a business being run utterly, completely by yourself. Because even though I need more help, I do not run this by myself in the sense of, yes, I do a lot of work, but I do not run this business without Dwan, or without Sophia, or without the new people coming in, Denise and Lori, and now Anna. I cannot run it without them. It's not possible. Anna tells me ideas all the time that maybe subject matters and stuff like that. It's fine, Anna. Just watch it later. I wanted to get this off my chest because I think people misunderstand me sometimes. It's not your fault. It's mine, actually. I'm still getting used to talking about my thoughts and talking about them to other people. It's hard for me to explain what I'm doing sometimes. And so people get me wrong a lot because, no, I didn't tell them. But the last thing I want to say for tonight is, I want you to be assured of something, every one of you. I do listen to you. I listen to you. I listen to your advice. But at the moment, it might not be applicable to that moment. It doesn't mean I don't have it on the back burner. There isn't a single piece of advice, even the most ridiculous piece of advice, that I have ever rejected. In fact, what I try to tell you guys to do, and something that is very effective for me, is just because a piece of advice might not be good for you, there might be something in that piece of advice that you can add to your repertoire. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. And nor should anybody accuse you of rejecting it. That advice might not be good for you. Maybe you tweak it and then you make it yours. See what I'm saying? But I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Lori, are you ready for a smoke? And I mean, thank all of you for watching. And listen to me. I love every one of you, even if I've never met you. Do not ever forget that. That I do not do this because I'm a millionaire. I do this because I take time out of my day just like my mother did. And you can thank my mother. You know my mom. And she's the reason why I'm so strong. 22 years after her death. I will never leave you. I will never stop talking to you unless you don't want to talk to me. And then that's on you. But so if you would ever come back and you decide, okay, maybe you're right, blah, 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 blah. There's no forgiveness that needs it because you don't need to apologize. Sometimes I'm very, Lori. Oh. Nothing, Lori. Just nothing. But just so you know, I don't do this for selfish reasons. I do this for selfless reasons, not because I want you to call me selfless, but because it is required for me to help you, for me to do it like this. I guess I have a guilty conscience about charging people for money. That's why the money's not going to come like that. So you guys don't have to worry about that. I will figure all that out. And I'm doing a good job of figuring out certain things. You know what I mean? But have a great Saturday. I love you guys. Be safe when you're traveling. Do not drink and drive, man. Come on. Be safe when you get there. Be safe when you get there. You never know what you may find. Lori. You never know what you're going to find. Be aware of your surroundings, in other words. Be understanding of one another, not just from your perspective, but from theirs. Not everybody can just get up and come to you. Sometimes you got to go to them too. And be understanding of yourself that you have limits. You cannot be everywhere all at once. So be understanding of that. Remember, life is fleeting. You know, I promise you next breath. So take now to go outside your box, learn a little bit about yourself, and so that you can be strong. With that being said, until Monday, possibly tomorrow, depends on how I feel. But for sure Monday. May the Lord light guide you in all things. Goodbye.